Let me see you move like that. Like what? Let me see you move like that. Just like that.
I'm Nicole Gardner, UK Head of Sales for Wondery. Wondery has grown tremendously this year, and it all starts with our listeners. We've invested in bringing new shows as well as new seasons of most loved titles to the world. And we have truly transformed the way that podcasts are created. And today we're so excited to show you how Wondery is connecting with more listeners and building passionate fan communities. A Wondery podcast really is more than just a story. Bringing compelling, binge-worthy stories to the world is our speciality. And in the past year, we've had 12 #1 hits on Apple Podcasts. We've also had one of our biggest milestones to date, surpassing over 50 #1 global shows. Now that's 3 times more than the next podcast studio. We've had an amazing 2 years at Wondery. We've tripled our unique listeners in the UK, we've seen incredible growth in the mystery and suspense genre, and we've leaned into our listeners' love of comedy. We're creating our own rich landscape of incredible homegrown voices and incredible stories. We aim to engage people in a world of entertainment and knowledge through immersive storytelling and iconic titles, just like the ones that you see behind me here, including Red-Handed's Saruthi Bala and Hannah Maguire, Rob Brydon's often hilarious interviews, and of course, Matt Ford and Alice Levine's critically acclaimed British Scandal. But maybe nothing is more indicative of the power of Wondery's storytelling than our ability to travel beyond your headphones. We are the podcast studio that's seen more of our shows go from headphones to Hollywood, with over 25 projects sold to networks, streamers, and studios, including Apple TV, Prime Video, and Sky. My personal favourite was Dr. Death, that had me on the edge of my seat from start to finish, and season 2 is currently in post-production, starring Mandy Moore and Edgar Ramirez in leading roles. We've also hosted live events in front of hundreds of fans, like British Scandal just down the road at Islington Assembly Hall, and Morbid, which was streamed live around the world. And we're making our way into podcast video while looking at innovative ways to leverage our unique position as an Amazon company. You saw Bryden sprinkled into the sizzle earlier, and that's one show that's definitely part of my listening routine. With Amazon, Wondery joins Alexa, Twitch, Prime Video, and Freevee. We're so excited to work together to leverage Amazon's network to develop innovative content and integrated campaigns. And to tell us more about that, please welcome to the stage our Head of International Podcast Content, Jess Radburn.
Thanks, Nicole. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. Wondery has become synonymous with compelling stories, premium partnerships, and the ability to take our shows beyond audio into other formats and medium. The quality of our storytelling is what sets us apart. It's immersive, gripping, and makes you feel like you're really there, while our interview and comedy series give you unequaled access to some of the very best in the entertainment business. By putting our listeners first, we consistently develop and launch shows destined for the top of the charts. Our show, Hooked on Freddy, focuses on the incredible story of a dolphin who captivated a small seaside town in the 80s and later scandalised all of Britain. It debuted last month, and it's a good example of how our audio storytelling can transport listeners to another world. Let's take a listen.
September the 28th, 1990, a small coastal town on the tip of northeast England, in the North Sea. A man's in the water, wearing a wetsuit with yellow arms. and he's just hanging there, alone. His name is Alan Cooper. And at first, yes, he is all alone, but then something dark moves at speed under the water. Circles, disappears, and then resurfaces.
You all felt that, right? It's like you're sitting on the bench in Amble, listening to the sounds of the waves, and then suddenly you're submerged in the water with Freddie and Alan. That's the power of immersive audio and how we can take listeners on a journey. Today we're producing stories that captivate listeners across more genres and categories than ever before. We're owning the moment and we're defining culture. Now, some of these stories are a little spine-tingling, but we take pride in the detail, working with some of the best investigative reporters around to tell deeply reported stories that are accurate, entertaining, and sometimes a little scary. Mystery and suspense draws some of the biggest audiences, primarily women who are drawn to these dark and juicy stories. The continued growth and success of shows like Red-Handed, Morbid, My Favourite Murder, and others show there's a real appetite for this genre and fans that group around these stories. Now, I know brand safety is important to everyone in this room, particularly when it comes to mystery and suspense. And that's why we recently partnered with Barometer, an independent brand safety and suitability provider, which provides our advertisers with increased intelligence and transparency over where their ads are placed. And, good news, across every genre and episode in the Wondery network, Barometer has rated our content 100% brand safe. On the flip side of mystery and suspense, we have a powerhouse comedy lineup. Smartless, Bad Dates with Jamila Jamil, Bride and And are leading the way, provided much needed hilarity to keep things bright. We've had our recent releases perform incredibly well, with two of our shows hitting #1 in Apple's Society and Culture category, Hooked on Freddie, which you heard earlier, and our newest ongoing series, Terribly Famous, which centres around the lives of celebrities such as Adele, Lily Allen, and Victoria Beckham. More on this show in a bit. And coming soon, we have an incredible slate of shows to share with our UK listeners, from homegrown UK stories to the best of our US shows in an ever-growing partner network. We're working with Pineapple Street Studios to bring listeners into the Halloween spirit with Ghost Story, an unbelievable tale which have listeners wondering what is fact or fiction. And, just to tease, another of our shows in the work is called Legacy. It's an ongoing, thought-provoking series with Goalhanger, launching next month. The power of our stories extends beyond pop culture and appeals to audiences of all demographics and backgrounds. This presents an unmatched opportunity for advertisers and brands to access our listeners in a more deeply emotional way. So now, I'd like to turn the stage over to the real stars of Wondery, our hosts. We're so lucky to have Anna Leong-Brophy and Emily Lloyd-Zaney, the hosts of our new hit show, Terribly Famous, here with us today. You may recognise this charmingly witty duo from their recent work with the BBC, Sky, Channel 4 and Netflix. Please join me in welcoming Anna and Emily to the stage.
Hello.
Hi, Anna and Emily. I just want to kick off this panel by saying that you're both great friends, not just on the podcast, but in real life too. So tell us a little bit about how you met and how long you've known each other, and sort of set the stage as you as an iconic duo.
Thanks. We've actually been doing comedy together since
Quite a long, but over 10 years.
Quite a long time. Longer than you think. And we started out improvising together.
Yeah.
Then we formed a sketch duo.
When we were improvising together, we realised we really like working together, like making sketches together, and for years said, we should do a sketch. We We should work together.
Every time we got drunk, we'd do that. And eventually we did.
Yep.
And so we've been doing that since 2016. We've done 3 live shows.
We have.
And yeah, and we still somehow managed to be friends.
Yeah, I mean, we did the live shows, and from that writing work came, and from the writing work podcasting came, and even some TV stuff together.
And now you've got Terribly Famous.
And now we've got Terribly
So
Famous.
tell us a little bit about Terribly Famous. It's our new hit show from Wondery, and how is it different from other shows?
Well, it's the newest form I've found in terms of we're telling a celebrity story, which is not new, but it's the first time I've seen it trying to be told from the celebrity's eyes. It's always an empathetic look at their journey.
Yeah, so I think we give the opportunity for people to, if you want to know the background of Victoria Beckham or Adele, but you don't want to go grubbing around in the sidebar of shame, then you can come to the podcast, and it's almost like it's so well researched and the scripting is amazing, so it feels like little kind of like biopods.
Very good.
And it's showing the kind of pitfalls of fame, so it's much more supportive and empathetic rather than like a gossipy kind of takedown.
It was really important to us that it wasn't a gossipy takedown, that it wasn't trash talk. And what we always try and do is humanise these people that we see as icons are going through the same things as we are, just on a very big platform in front of everyone. So as best as we can, through their words and their eyes, we tell their story.
No, that's good. And what about your listeners? Can you tell us a bit about them? What are they like?
Lovely, very clever.
Big fans.
Great decisions they make.
Yeah, we've had some really lovely feedback. There's really, our fan base are really great. I guess they are majority women, although Well,
it's a different celebrity every series. So if we do a footballer, we are going to get an uptake of male listeners. If we do Zane Lowe, it becomes younger and more female.
Yeah.
And so it does change with the series, but we hope that in the way that we talk about it, you don't need to be an avid fan of that celebrity.
Who was your favourite celebrity that you covered?
Ooh, I think Lily Allen so far for me.
That's just about to come out, the Lily Allen one.
She's a lot of fun.
It was my most transformed opinion of a celebrity, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really interesting.
Oh, I look forward to hearing that one. And so you're in a room full of advertisers and agencies.
Hi.
What kind of
Welcome.
brand would you like to work with on Terribly Famous?
Do we have any like private jets in the room? I don't know. No.
Just for Anna, first class travel,
for me,
anyway.
Yeah. I think we kind of like to... I think what we're going for is like accessible and aspirational in terms of our listeners, you know, women kind of in their 20s to 30s, and which we are. I think pampering and kind of self-care is definitely something that we feel would hit well with our listeners.
The tone of the podcast is a lot about celebrity and what it's like to be a celebrity. But along with that subject, a lot of mental health is talked about as well. So I think anything that kind of works with self-care and looking after yourself. And
but
that
also
can be,
the glamorous side of
but
things.
also the glamorous,
so
like
beauty,
feeling
fashion.
like a celebrity.
Yeah.
Aspirational but achievable is what we're going for. So.
Yeah.
And you've both come from TV. What makes podcasting different to you as a medium versus working in TV?
Oh, wow. I mean, I just love, personally, as a podcast listener, I love that feeling of being in the room with your two best pals. That's always been my favourite kind of podcast to listen to really enjoy, like, the rapport. And we all get that. So you actually feel like, you know, I feel like when I'm getting recommended something on a podcast, I'm like, well, if Helen thinks it's good, then I'm going for it, because I trust them, they're my friends, I trust their relationship. And that bleeds through. That's what really speaks to me in terms of podcasting.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. But also, when Anna and I have done live shows, the feedback has mostly been really about our dynamic. So it's really fun on the other side of it to be able to have that friendship and put that across to the listeners as a kind of sidebar to the story that we're telling.
Yeah, and we do kind of put a lot of our own life experiences and things that we've done and memories that we have and things that we're
Mistakes
doing.
we've made.
So exactly. So then I do feel that anything that we come to the fans with, they know where we're coming from.
Yeah.
So it's accessible in that way. Yeah.
That's great. Thanks. Just a final question from me. What exciting projects have you got coming up that you can talk about?
Ooh, well, Emily is in Juice, which has just come out. Everything's available on BBC iPlayer, guys. Russell Tovey,
Always
Mawaan
get
Rizwan.
yourself a co-host to pimp you out.
She wrote one of the episodes. It's amazing. You should definitely watch it.
We've actually both got a couple of projects that we're not allowed to talk about, but it's a really exciting time for us at the moment.
Exciting stuff in the pipeline.
But in
TBC.
terms of the podcast, we're going to do a really fun Christmas episode that we've just been talking about. So that one I'm really excited to do.
And
as
some
well.
really juicy.
Can you say who with?
The Christmas one is going to be more of like a bonus ep. And then we've got some really fun. We've got Robbie Williams coming up.
Naomi Campbell coming up.
It's going to be really fun. Yeah.
Exciting. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us on the stage today. And a huge thank you to all of you for supporting us this year so far. We've got a really exciting 2024 coming up. Sales team are all here. Ben, Jack and James, all willing to buy you a drink at the bar after.